What is the most effective psychological trick you use? When I ask someone a question and their first response is what, I just stare at them for a few seconds. And 99% of the time they answer my question without me having to repeat myself. I think it's just a subconscious reflex people have to ask what instead of answering what you've asked even when they've heard you clearly. Don't say it's okay when someone apologizes. Say something like, "Thank you for apologizing." If someone needs to apologize to you, then it was something that isn't okay. My mom teaches this to her kindergartners and it really does make a difference. Opens doors for growth and conversation too. Thank you for apologizing. I don't like it when you hit me. Or whatever. Edit. This blew up. I'm almost 23 but tempted to watch Daniel Tiger. Mostly because he was the only puppet from the land of make-believe that didn't scare me. And thank you for the silver. Row. I used this technique at university where I couldn't stand the thought of having to answer questions in front of a group of people. So if you find yourself in a group situation where someone, a leader, tutor, manager etc. is asking questions that must be answered and you want to avoid being picked so that you don't have to talk, then here is my tip. If the person locks eyes on you as they ask the question, then just as they are about to get to the end of their question you break eye contact and look towards another person in the room and hold it. Their attention is diverted to that other person just as the question ends and the person they are now looking at feels compelled to answer. If however the person starts asking the question while looking at someone else, then look at that other person and hold it so you can't get suckered. Use it sparingly because if you do it enough on the same person, they will be onto you. If you need to de-escalate someone and get them to communicate, asking questions about numbers, personal information. I work in emergency services. If someone is totally distraught and shut down, asking their phone number, address, SSN, birth date can pull them out of the emotional place and bring them back to a headspace where they can talk about what happened more easily. I often ask these questions even after I have the information just to de-escalate. I can't remember. My wife's a psychologist and I lost all my superpowers of manipulation of time and space. Set expectations low and blow people's minds with my mediocrity. When you are standing in a group and somebody tells a joke or something funny happens, people tend to look towards the person they like the most while laughing. Whenever I know somebody is holding some truth to me, I'll look at them and stay silent. No nodding, no acknowledging, just looking. The silence usually brings out the truth or extra detail. If they squirm around a bit, you know there's something they have exaggerated, etc. Anyone here reading through the posts for the sake of using them in the future, but an hour later you forget everything you've just read? This isn't something I've used but I think it's worth sharing. Darren Brown said that once there was a muscly drunk guy that wanted to beat him up and said the classic "What are you looking at?" Darren replied with, "The wall outside my house is 4 feet tall." The idea is that it puts the aggravated person on the back foot and takes them out of that adrenaline filled state. Anyways, he sat down and the guy started crying to him about his GF. He is Darren Brown though, so I wouldn't recommend this to everyone. Thanking someone for a trade you want from them. Instead of telling a customer you're sorry for their wait, tell them thank you for your patience or understanding. Works wonders. IDK if this is an actual thing or not, or maybe just distractions, but when I do something annoying or bothersome to my husband and he goes quiet, I wait a few minutes and then I ask him a seemingly innocent question, usually on the subject of how certain parts of a car works, or something mechanical. This gets him talking about the car thing and he rambles for like 5 minutes and then bam, he's happy again and not quietly brooding. I'll never tell him I do that because I'm afraid it won't work anymore if he knows about it. It's foolproof though. It works every single time, no matter how bothered he is. I recently read that saying "you're right" instead of "I know" makes you look less like an asshole and doesn't diminish something someone else may have just found out. I think it's pretty effective at not letting you look like a total ass. Edit. Row. Inbox boom. Thanks for all the replies. I'll try to answer a few of them if necessary. Don't be sad if I don't answer. I still like you. When somebody shy is speaking, if you look at them and nod your head, it encourages them to keep talking. I currently manage around 240 people between 6 restaurants. It is often hard to get them to do what is needed. I have found saying I need your help is sufficient to get them on board. People want to feel needed and like they are making a difference. Expressing to them as much makes all the difference in the world. My youngest, 4, got into the why phase a little while back. Read an article that said the best way to get them to stop was to ask them, I'm not sure. What do you think? It is a godsend. They answer their own question. You provide some feedback, sounds good to me. And they immediately move on. Fucking awesome. Listening to someone without giving advice or pushing for more information typically nets me more information than being pushy for it. To avoid workplace drama and be well liked is to just compliment people behind their back. If someone says they have the hiccups, ask them to prove it 9-10 times, their hiccups will disappear. Having to summon a hiccup in order to demonstrate will trick your diaphragm into just not hiccuping. I've been able to twist it around on myself with some success as well, but it takes practice. You realize you have hiccups, then try to hiccup. Actively try to make yourself do another one. It'll stop. Music. Putting headphones in and playing the music that I know I'd want to hear if I was in the mood that I want to be in shifts me over to that mentally, and really helps when I need to calm down or when I need to feel happier. When someone is trying to throw excuses or generally if they're getting a bit tossy about something, often the best way to handle it is to stare back with mild interest and contribute nothing to their monologue. If you don't give them anything to work with, they'll talk themselves into a corner and lose confidence in what they're saying. I learned this trick from an old director who used to control pretty much any meeting room scenario by being the most silent and impassive person in the room. I fondly remember the time someone asked him a ridiculous question and he just stared at him for about 15 seconds. 15 seconds is a long time to be stared at in a room full of people. The guy wilted into his chair and nobody could work out if the director was angry or just quietly mulling it over. Instead of arguing, I start off by agreeing and then state my point of view after addressing the other person's point. Always ends in a positive interaction. Edit. The idea is to show respect for what the other person thinks. Assuming that the person isn't a complete moron, they more than likely have a valid point. Rather than shutting the person down and telling them they're wrong, you listen to them. Then after hearing them out, you can bring up your own point of view. The goal is to have a respectful exchange of opinions rather than a flat out argument where two people flat out don't agree with each other and leave each other without learning anything from one another. Playing dumb gets you out of a lot, but not too dumb. In an argument, find something to agree on, then push your main point. If you hand something to someone, they will take it. It's a lot of fun. Edit. My first Reddit silver. Thanks. Be direct and personal when you need things. Instead of asking if anyone has an EP pen, ask WHO has an EP pen. Instead of saying someone call 911 point to someone, say you in the blue jacket, what's your name? Tom. Okay Tom, go call 911 and come tell me when they are in the way. I'm a professional poker player. When I am in a pot with one other player, I often try to make them laugh when they are thinking about what to do. If you can get them to laugh, it sets them in a mood where they are unlikely to bluff. I talk a lot in general. It's very common to make jokes at the table, even in hands. I work in an office. When people stop by my desk and refuse to leave me alone, I will get up and refill my water bottle while they are talking to me. Instead of walking back to my desk, I walk them to theirs. They instinctively will sit down. Then I just sever the convo and get back to work. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Thanks for the gold and silver, kind internet peoples. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.